No nsia bo me do fopa me ma wa chen ma mo akwa aba ba bibia wo hwe me firi bia mra so sense ma me nsa kan e wo man Ghana ne ama hodo so ni edika editi osemufo aso ne so nura kruchie edi agukrata so edi ama me de ba besom se prime anopa no nsia kase ensema no pe me de ba besom no edosu yie ni edi makuti ni bi enie Vice President Her Excellency Professor Jina na opoku ajima yedi nsem bia to Ghana de hye anim Samson adonkumo omra shebedwafie akwa akopie mu ewo court yekopie mu omra shebedwafie nso ana Speaker of Parliament Right Honorable Babin Kingsford Alban Sumana enso de kokobo akwa amamra shebedwafo ni bi ensem we ni nsema wodu pie kanam de babe somo ewo kase ebokwan so me ama oje penedi anopa kase bo babe somo mediane mes nafsat mitwa me ho aba Afeje Bray na memfa kase bunchemu ensomo Vice President Professor Jina na opoku ajiman ene wakasa e de ato abonten se mprempren no e ade animonyam eni wobuo e ba sidi ne ho na enso se betumi aba ho na akoso yie pa na e kire so man Ghana ade hye ye asidi no e ye sika na wo se ye boye homodin yie pa se ebu asidi ne hia no ye de ebema no ade nsem we nyina ato abonten na ba mpanimfo e de 14 Ghana Economic Forum 2025 so one kind pumpuni mantem.
The city will never be as strong as it should be if we continue to export, for example, cocoa beans instead of chocolate, bauxite instead of aluminium, and gold dust instead of jewelry. And we are happy that the Cocoa Board and the Gold Board are leading reforms to fix this. Every stage of processing that happens in Ghana keeps value here, strengthens our city, creates jobs, and adds to our dignity as a people. Our farmers, artisans, and other professionals deserve to see the full reward of their labor at home. Additionally, we must empower small businesses and our youth through training, de-risk lending, and targeted support. We will unlock entrepreneurship and innovation, and I know that the youth will be up to the task. We have a rare opportunity in 2025 to turn emergency recovery into enduring transformation, adding value to our fields, our factories, and classrooms, and our policies will help the city stand steady, and we will all be the better for it.
The strength of the city is not guaranteed by decree. It is earned by every day, by what we do. It is earned by the worker in the factory line, by the innovator writing codes in Accra, by the farmer in the field processing value-added cocoa, by the boardroom choosing long-term investment over short-term gain. It is earned by every household choosing to save in Ghana's currency because it believes the city will hold value, not just tomorrow, but for the next decade. Let this forum mark the moment where we move from stabilization to transformation, where the city is not simply defended but empowered.
To see a problem war as a country, one of it is stability of the city. Yes, you say city na enya hoden, but enye na hoden anase be kosura na be enye no na ehwehwe ye stability. Say unim say city no e be depreciate e be 10% for the whole year. And no betumi a plan it. Say this is city no depreciate here e affect bibia because
additional buyer to akase bonus na emprempren onipa kra e Ghana mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama etunu se wo pese wo beye eye Chief Justice eyonu monyamfo eye bafo boni na emra so senko kohia eye vetting committee no na ototo na anu ehu se dwumedi aban epeso de hyɛ ne nsa na no kwa wo betumi aye na nso ene donkuma omrahye bedwafi akwa akopie mu ewo koto nsemo ka nyina ne se eye kwan a aban fa asu eyi eye maame eye araba isabato kunu edifu aban mu se wonja ni dwumadi nto onum se chief justice no ebesi na nya ade a wote ase nti nkosi se aban ebe mo mu nchirechire mu ewo ho no nya ade a vetin no ebetumi akoso.
On the clerk to parliament, we have a motion for the speaker to consider the suspension of all activities both at the parliamentary select committee on appointments and the plenary on anything that has to do with the consideration of the nomination of Justice Paul Bafuboni as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, having regard to the fact that there are a lot of uncompleted issues regarding the removal of Justice Tokonu as the Chief Justice. And we think that it is right that when you have matters still pending in the matter, you do not bring closure just like that. In Parliament, it is stopped by our own, standing orders from considering matters which are still pending before the courts. Currently, Justice Tokonu has about 6 pending cases at various courts, high courts, all the way to the Supreme Court, and she has 3 pending cases at the ECOWAS courts. And we believe that for good order's sake, it's very, very important that we finish and complete exhaustively all matters that are still pending before we consider the nomination of the acting Chief Justice. It is in the best interest of democracy and rule of law, and indeed it is also in the best interest of Justice Paul Bafuboni as he is being considered for consideration as a Chief Justice, that whatever has been done to Justice Tokonu may be done to him. So it's important that he takes his time. We don't need to be in a hurry. We think that there is a lot of haste, unnecessary haste in the whole procedure that is
going. Yenso akasi eboniso na be America kranie ya ade na mrahye bedwafo eji wona home kakra ewo fie na chese wotena fie che kakra na afei no wasan so ahye wondwumadi ase a wasan so ekomrahye bedwafie koto ato adwene hwekwan obefa so obebu o me nenso ekame ya se fiti bra wo sha ase se wo se ekomrahye bedwafie no eye mrahye bedwafo ni bi aye wana adwene se nya ade a obekobi me nanam so amakasamafo ho no eye right honorable eye Barben Kensford Urban sumana de kokobo sonko akọ edi amamrahye bedwafo a eya womba adwuma kwa kire omu se obesere wo mra adwuma na se wa amanso a ene no omu fanhye omu tiri mu se ye omu sita o mrahye bedwafie ni mpanifo be declare no vacant ni atoso aba.
So that you can take the morning to attend to committees, prepare your reports, attend to your constituents, and that by 2 then you'll be ready to sit. Again, that's the period you can also interact with the ministries, because there is a time established by law for public servants to report to work and to close from work. And so that is a good time for you to have the opportunity to interact and chase things for and on behalf of your constituents. It's for these good reasons we decided to start sitting at 2. I also encourage the fact that the time people are working, they may not have opportunity to observe you and participate in whatever you do. But in the evenings, they'll have the opportunity to sit, watch, advise you, and also make some inputs. That, again, we are not taking advantage of. I'm saying this for the last time. I've given directive to the clerks at table to take the records for this meeting, and please, we have the standing orders, we know what they say, we'll be taking action to make sure that we compel members to sit.
Aswa for sharp pomodensem so honorable Kwabena Minta akandre ne wakasa edi atu abontene se abandada no penso no adi National Health Insurance Authority o shema mpanifo ho honom ene company edin edom so light waves eno mo essentiality asia pam so mo be hwe na ko asi ayaresabia bi e dia mo man Ghana de hie nenso ebesi ne ya ayaresabia oman ni twi aho ka edi sikafuduo ewura mu na nya de otumi si mu e fampu.
2019, Ghana government signed a contract with a company called Lightwaves. And the contract sum was $100 million to connect 950 health facilities. The contract was supposed to expire in 2022. At the end of 2022, the contract was not well executed. And if I say not well executed, he had not connected the 950 facilities. And therefore, the contract was extended twice to expire in December, 31st December 2024. At the end of the expiration, out of the 950 facilities, only 450 facilities had been connected. At this point, you would all agree with me that the contract was meant for 3 years and extended to for 5 years for 950 facilities, and you have only delivered 450 facilities. Clearly, nobody needs to tell you that the company underperformed. And so when we took over, as part of the contract, they were supposed to hand over whatever they executed to the state. So the contract was divided into what we call milestones. Milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3. So at the end of each milestone, they are supposed to hand over to the state. You all agree with me that it's unconscionable for any individual or company to have access to the medical records, electronic medical records of Ghanaians without the state taking control, without the state having access to it, without having even access to the service. Again, I have stated that the contract sum was $100 million. At the end of 31st December 2024, although 450 out of the 950 had been connected, the vendor had been paid about $77 million. Clearly, more than 70% of the total amount had been.
Adeshimayama wasansem kronemu ena odmunyamfo kwabena minta kando esen kasa ediatu abonte se wo hwese de light waves esimi ebu oman no kwasi asebisebi e wo kwan bisua na imprempren de yade wagya yasem no ediama atoni general yonmunyamfo Dominica yini so ono enye ne hwehwemu.
What we had to concern ourselves with was a solution of the matter to get out this mess. In order to avoid these disruptions and the shutdowns we are experiencing, although we didn't have any contract with the vendor as at the time we took over, we indicated to the vendor that the ministry was ready to sign service maintenance agreement covering the 450 health facilities. Don't forget that the software is and was not for the state. That is why it's called LENS, Light Wave Health Information Management System. It's not for the state. In the agreement, we indicated that before we sign such an agreement with you, you have to hand over the data to the state, and you must give us administrative access to the service. The vendor insisted that those clauses must be expunged from the agreement. We cannot.
Georgia and Penny for Edge 14th Ghana Economic Forum 2025. ejumedi ehihye so ewon kan pumpuni mantemu na we enampanyufo odi won anim onyam kwota ejumedi na echi ekasa edi ato abonten so besire Ghana aban eni aseye show man ni sikasem so so mfa nhihye pengu akwam na sidi ni entumi nyabo ewa abonten
demonstrated the informal sector and the over 7 billion cedis worth of imports from the Palugu border and the Togo border, Aklawu border. That alone is disrupting the beverage industry. Go on and on. The textile industries are going down. The oils, Avnash, name them. How could this company stand when your borders are porous and there's so much smuggling? But the ecosystem needs to be reset and streamlined for sustainability and growth.
And just last week, I was having a discussion with the CEO of the Toronto Stock Exchange, where there are 40 companies listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange whose largest or only assets is from a license in Ghana. And yet when we as Ghanaians want to participate in that wealth, we can only do so by going to buy shares on the Toronto Stock Exchange, not on Ghana Stock Exchange, because none of these, maybe 2 of the companies are listed here. So ownership is very important, whether it's of our cocoa, so that the farmer can sell cocoa beans to the factories that are established here, who can grind, turn into chocolate, etc. If it's gold, that we own it because we have the actual produce as held by a central bank, then we have a jewelry industry, then we have all the other things that come about it.
We can be here talking about the good times, talking about how fantastic everything is. But what are we doing to put aside enough? And every time we hear pressures coming from the cedi should drop to what I've heard some people quote as low as 9. The central bank should intervene more. It has me frightened, because what do we do when the winds?
Yabato akasi aboniso wa amasama yabato mpesu asina kopie mu enwo hono ma mansini krache ena afensu mpanifo ahodo aka wo hono makasa de ato abonten se yade ode nhihye pegu akoma ebe boboa amaye nuanum nketu amaya wasisi wo hono no watumi akọ school akọ ekire ne nkoba se wode won hu be hye eye nuboni num na afensu mpewanyin wode nsem we twa abonten eye National Day of the girl child. So
whatever is putting impediments on your way, you communicate with your parents, communicate with your teachers. Whatever you think is stopping you to be whoever you want to be, have a communication. What is happening is that most of you girls, a lot is happening. But you are not exposed to be talking to your parents, to be talking to your teachers. I am telling you again, all the female teachers in your school are your mentors. They are your friends. If there's something worrying you in your hopes, when you come, talk to your teacher. Okay? Talk to your female teacher. Talk to your mother. Tell your mom whatever is disturbing you. What we will do as a government agency, for that matter, as the assembly, I will ensure that we enforce laws that will support you. We will enforce laws that will bring progression into your lives. If someone tries to abuse you, I promise you, I'll be there for you.
Systematic gender inequality that affects girls in every corner of the world. This inequality manifests in critical areas, which include access to education, where millions of girls are still out of school, denied the foundational opportunity to learn and build a future. Protection from violence, where girls are disproportionately vulnerable to gender-based violence, sexual exploitation, and early and forced child marriages. Globally, approximately 1 in 5 young girls were married as children. Ghana is no exception. Up north, if you are a girl, 7 out of 10 will be married at a very early age. Many girls face barriers accessing adequate medical care, nutrition, and comprehensive sexuality education. The day is is a rallying cry to address these barriers, transforming them from invisible issues to urgent global priorities. While we focus on these challenges, the International Day of the Girl Child is fundamentally a day of celebration and recognition. It is celebrating the profound strength, creativity, and leadership of girls who are not waiting for change, but they are building the change that they deserve.
Onimonyam for Julius Deborah, Chief of Staff Akasa, Edia Tuabonten say, Eyadio me yapumide honsem Eda Bino, Akumasu ye pentoden share pegu akwemi nkosi yafe 2030 die no man Ghana hanum say, Ubia se wo edrodoa, Ubenya medical attention papa enkoba say, Obi wesika nko a ne ebema na attention na sebi ona woni bie ne eja wonsi wonko fie enkonko wunti aban no e de hyehyɛ pegu akwama obia e ba benya eye asumdue na afen so medical attention papa
to repositioning and resetting Ghana's health sector, advancing towards universal health coverage UHC by 2030. Strategic partnerships are the cornerstone of strengthening health systems. They allow us to pool expertise, resources, and innovation together. They help us bridge service delivery gaps and ensure that no Ghanaian is left behind in accessing quality health care. In this light, the NHIA is a key vehicle for delivering financial risk protection and safeguarding equity in access to health services. One of the critical issues confronting the NHIS today, in which has informed this forum, is the continual imposition of unauthorized charges, often referred to as co-payments, by some credential facilities. Co-payment, though a legitimate payment mechanism in other countries, is unfortunately not an accepted practice in Ghana. These illegal fees, often demanded at the point of need, undermine the very purpose of the scheme. They erode public trust, deepen inequality, and place undue burden on the poor and vulnerable. The erroneous perception that the NHIS is ineffective or that providers are not being reimbursed has been largely fueled by these practices and must be addressed by the end of this conference. I therefore welcome NHIA's Zero Tolerance campaign against illegal charges. The establishment of a national task force with regional and district level replication to investigate and recommend lasting solutions is a very vital and important step. I encourage the NHIA to scale up public education to address the misconceptions surrounding the scheme and attract more members as we strive to achieve universal health coverage. Let us go beyond our offices into communities, schools, churches, mosques, markets, and lorry parks to educate Ghanaians about the scheme's benefits, deepen members' understanding of their rights under the scheme, and inform them about the services available to them. Public awareness is our best defense against exploitation.
Yeah, to akasi ebone so ewa mahodro so nsemu a na ye be sha ase ewo Cameroon okopie mu ewo hono ma eyade a enei court declare ese wonimonyamfo ana se opanyina wogina ye si entone so aba eyonimonyamfo po bi ye ono ana na eyo mampanyina osan gina ye so monto aba manu no ndi ni onto ani dwumedie so ono na eye court declare se eya aba omo de hyehye so na wuchi etwa mu no na edi nkunima nam so ama basabasa ye akwasto ewo Cameroon esan so adehye no bi dwen se ade anwiemu aba ewo abatu no.
This in a country where anger and frustration over his leadership continues to mount. You see, the youth are out to reclaim their votes that were stolen. I agree with them. We can clearly see that Issa Chiroma Bakari won the election, but the government denies that.
Franchement, les gens ne sont pas contents.
Frankly, people are not happy, and they're right, because we have been suffering for 43 years. It's not going well. Children are suffering. Educated youth have no jobs. We can't eat in Cameroon. We can't get treatments. We are fed up. Protests erupted in mid-October. Security forces have clashed with demonstrators in several cities.
Yentwa so ewa Nigeria mainuma adwuma mpanimfo ewo honom na afenso mpanimfo binuma aka ehie to adwuna hwe kwan ye befa so na adwadi nkita hudi eda Nigeria ene British entem no washimukina.
Continue to leverage available economic opportunities to strengthen ties and increase trade volumes across the board. Chairman of the NBCC's Presidential Inauguration Dinners Committee, Mr. Tajuddin Ahmed, at the media parley ahead of the event stated that the forthcoming dinner would feature a thematic discussion on what is essential for the economy of Nigeria. He added that the immediate past president of the African Export and Import Bank, Professor Benedict Orama, will be the guest speaker with theme Unlocking Africa's Future, Trade as an Engine of Economic Competitiveness.
We're keen to be the voice for the British and Nigerian businesses. We're keen to remain the voice of advocacy on issues that affect our members and potential non-members as well. And we've done this over the years and we'll continue to do that. We are apolitical. We're not, we don't pander to any political wishes. Ours is just to advance the cause of our members and also contribute our own quota towards increasing that trade and investment relationship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. In our view, we think we have a lot of potentials to enhance the 7 billion.
Shannon Suma Mr. Kasibu ye chegu ewo Facebook Live, Ashanti Prime TV, YouTube, Ashanti Prime TV, and TikTok, and so Ashanti Prime TV. We share no comment. Wa like you know wa share ede amame. And some me de be so man no pay wo Kasibu kwan so na edo so ye. Na edi makutini bi eni. Vice President Professor Jena na Opoku Ajiman Edin Sembi Eto Abonten Sanso Speaker of Parliament Ayon Munyam for Barben Kingsford Urban Sumana and so the Kokobo Command Rashibedwafo ni bi ensem we ne ensem awdu opie kan na me be som mo se prime manopanu nsia kase me am de kase bo be som mo mediane Miss Nafsat makra obia